I'm Bob and I like to make stuff. Today we're going to make an organizer for charging my kids' devices. Because of all the social distancing, my whole team is working from home right now, so I'm going to be shooting the next several videos all on my own, just like the old days. Well, today's project came about because my kids are doing their schoolwork from home and they had to share one computer. I found a really good deal on 4 remanufactured Chromebooks that I got them to do their work on. And these work out great, except that it causes a little bit of a problem. We need a place to store them and to keep them charged. So today I'm going to use whatever materials I have in the shop, build something on the fly to organize and charge the Chromebooks. Let's do it. Unfortunately, I have no idea how long it's going to be before I can safely go out to get new materials. So I'm going to try to use what I have on hand, which means I'm going to be using some pieces that are kind of weird shapes and maybe not what I would choose normally, but I'm going to figure out how to make it work. The only thing I know about this project so far is that it's going to be a box on the bottom that has all the chargers in it, and the 4 wires will come out in the front. Then I'm going to have some sort of vertical dividers that are going to hold the Chromebooks upright so that you can plug in the charger. So I'm going to look around at these pieces of plywood that I've got and figure out the best way to do that. I got the dado stack put in the table saw and I've got it set to 3/4 of an inch, which is the same thickness as this plywood. And so on these side panels, I'm going to cut a dado right about here, and that's going to create the area below where all the chargers are going to go. Then the flat surface will go into that dado where all the Chromebooks are going to sit. Now this also includes the outer wall, the upright, on 2 outsides. So I'm going to go ahead and get these dados cut and then I'll show you what I mean. I've got it back here with the dado blade, and I'm going to make a pass over here, then flip the piece around and make a pass that will cut the same distance over here. And once I get those 2 channels made, then I'll find the center point and cut another pass right down the middle so that these are all equally spaced, at least visually, even if they're not precisely even. Alright, I've got the thing put together. I think you can kind of see where I'm going here. Now I've got to cut the 3 center dividers that are going to be the same height as this section, and then I will bundle all 3 of those middle pieces and the 2 sides and knock off the corner so it's all the same on all of them. I'm going to do some sort of a detail on the front edge. I'm not really sure what it is yet. I'm going to go ahead and cut down these 3 pieces and a little piece that's going to fit right here in this front face. Then we'll figure out what's next. Alright, here's how it's looking so far. I am making this up as I'm going along, but it's coming together pretty quickly. The next big step is to glue all these pieces together, but before I do that I want to use some edge banding, cover up all these exposed edges, and I just realized that this kind of sharp edge here may be problematic for the edge banding. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try, but if it doesn't work out super well, I'm just going to round over these front edges just so that one piece of edge banding can kind of bend around it. Now I still have to come up with something to cover this bottom section, but I have an idea and I think it's going to look pretty cool. That's all done now. Just got to do a little sanding on these edges to smooth them out. That worked out pretty well. I did have to kind of heat the edge banding to get it to bend around that. It worked out. A little bit of sanding, it'll be good. I also have to sand this edge on all the pieces, and then I can glue this thing up. I do have a whole bits video about edge banding in case you haven't seen it, and it'll tell you all the ins and outs of using it. I was just about to start gluing these pieces together, and I realized it would make a lot more sense to go ahead and pre-finish them, because once they are actually set in place, it's going to be kind of hard to get down in between these to add a good coat of finish. So I'm going to go ahead and use some wipe-on poly and wipe down all these pieces and get a couple of coats on before I glue it together. While I was waiting on the finish to dry, I realized that this needs something on the back, not only to lock these pieces together, but also to stop the devices from sliding back. Even if this thing is pushed up against a wall, I still want something in here to stop them from coming back. So I got to thinking about adding a piece of brass. Now the cool thing here is before I put these pieces together, I can line up all the tops again and drill a matching hole in one spot through all of the pieces. Then when I get it put together, I can slide this brass rod through that hole and it will act as a stop and a stabilizer for all these pieces. That's going to work out really well because I also want to use a sheet of brass for the front. This is actually going to get cut down to be the front plate. It's going to have some holes in it for those chargers to come through. I've got the spots marked where I need to drill holes on this front panel, and that's going to allow the chargers to come through. But the chargers for these are actually USB-C, which means they're wider in one direction than they are in the other. Now you could just drill a big enough hole for this to fit through, but that means it's also going to fit back through. It's going to fall in. So I think what I'm going to try to do instead is drill two holes that are on top of each other and then file out the side to kind of make the same shape as this plug. That way you can pull it through, but then once you turn it, it won't be able to fall back. Past that, I could always put some hot glue on the back side of the hole to hold the wire in place so it won't fall back through. Let's give it a shot. I got the power supplies hot glued underneath this thing, and they can easily come out if I need to take them out. I wanted to address a couple of the things I know will come up in the comments. The first thing is a power strip. It would make a lot of sense to make this just a little bit bigger and put a power strip underneath it so there was only one plug coming out of the back of it. I wanted to make this as small as possible, and I don't actually have an extra power strip around, and I'm not going to go out for it right now, so we're just going to go with this and plug it into the wall. Another thing is that my kids don't take these anywhere. These are not meant for travel, these are just for their schoolwork, so it doesn't matter that their chargers for the Chromebooks are actually locked into this device. Alright, this thing is pretty much done, so let's go plug it in and load it up. So here it is. After an afternoon's worth of work using the stuff that I already had on hand, I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. And one of the most fun things about it is that I went into it not really having a clear idea of what it was going to look like or what I wanted it to actually do, other than just hold the things and charge them. I'm super happy with it, and I think it's going to look good in a lot of different places in the house. If this project gave you an idea for how to use a material you already have on hand, or to make a solution for something that you need in your house, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. We've got tons of other types of projects that you may want to check out, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that and hit the bell so you know every time we upload a new video. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And I'm making this up as I go along, and it really hasn't taken for charging a bunch of devices. Bunch of devices. I did kind of have to hit. Oh wow. I got to thinking about next up I've got to. Oh, wow. Okay. But before I do that, I want to cover all these exposed edges with some wow.